Alrighty, Ohio Political News coming to you live on a Monday night. It's a Monday night. That can't be right. That isn't. There's something unusual going. There's something unusual going on here tonight, and we are going to switch gears and come up. We got the MAGA Institute with us here tonight. Timothy Shea, it is good to have you, and thanks for coming on tonight. We're going to be looking and diving into some of this Trump stuff here tonight, and I'll tell you what we'll do is we're going to have some really good discussions about a lot of the Trump news that has been happening and dive in and get some details and just expose a lot of it. So I'm looking forward to this conversation here tonight. Now, I want to kick things off because I don't know if you're aware of it, but in Chicago, they're worried that Trump is going to be calling in the National Guard and that it's like he's going to be taking over the entire city. And some of these politicians out there, I got this lady on, I'm going to play for you here in a minute. She's just up in arms about it. But when you have 54 shootings and you have 7 people that got killed just over the weekend in Chicago, I mean, something absolutely has to be done with it. Listen to this right
Let's
here.
make it clear. The President of the United States essentially just declared war on a major city in his own nation. This is not normal, Margaret. This is not acceptable behavior. No, we don't have any indications of them getting ready to send troops into Chicago.
Okay, all right. I want to get your thoughts on that for a minute. So first of all, she said this isn't normal, that he can't do this. He declared war on Chicago, and then all of a sudden she backtracks and say, well, no, he hasn't sent any troops yet. He's actually not saying that he's going to, although he might. But, I just thought that was classic for them. And one other thing, too, Timothy, is this I found on X. Joe Ripari, he put this out on X. He said, it is normal because it happened back in 1967. Lyndon Johnson, look at that. He's got tanks. This is in Detroit. He's got tanks. He's got those guys. They all have their guns, and they're walking down the streets of Detroit there. 7,000 arrests back in 1967. So when you need the guard and you need to do it, you do it. And so it's not as unusual as you think. But
look, let me be very clear. The president is declaring war, but he's not declaring war on the good people of Chicago. He's not declaring war on the city of Chicago. He's declaring war on the criminals that have been killing the citizens of Chicago.
That's right.
What is the number one cause of death in the city of Chicago? It's black on black crime, and they never want to talk about it. He's also declared war on these duplicitous, deceitful, disgusting Democrats that coddle the criminals, that seem to have a crush on the criminals. They just love the criminals. And if they're criminalians, even better. That's who the president is declaring war on. And the Supreme Court today said he can do it. He's sending ICE into L.A. The lower courts are trying this delay game, Joe. You know the game came out last week that they're literally sending a CIA manual from the 70s around inside the government, inside FDA and inside CDC and inside these other government agencies on how to gum up the works, how to play the delay game. They're trying to run out the clock on the president, just like they did in the first term with Russiagate.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
1.0, 2.0. Make sure that they everything is perfect. There's not even a comma in an incorrect place before you approve the report, and all of these tactics to just delay. Well, the lower courts are doing it too. The Supreme Court ruled that the president has executive authority. That's like you having to declare that the sun will shine between the hours of sunup and sundown, right? It's just something that he shouldn't need a Supreme Court ruling saying the president has executive authority to take executive action. And yet the lower courts are defying the Supreme Court. And I think Supreme Court's gotten fed up. The 6 decent justices, of course, you had the 3 munchkins, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, dissenting.
Right.
But ICE is going to be going into L.A. now. And did you see the protest in D.C.? I didn't see any black people in that protest, Joe. Were any of them even residents of D.C.? I saw a lot of buses.
Yeah,
saw a lot of buses.
When you talk to anybody from Chicago, black people in Chicago that are in the slummy areas where all the crime is happening, and like you said, there were 54 people that got shot over the weekend, 54, and 7 of them are dead. That's a war zone. But you talk to any of them in the crosshairs of that gunfire, they're all for it. It's like, bring them in, because the Democrats, they're trying to make it out like, oh, well, the crime's not any worse in Chicago than it is in Louisiana or some of the red states and stuff. But that if that's all they're going to do is just say, oh, everything's fine. The people are saying, bring the troops in, bring them in. But let me on this ICE thing, the Supreme Court ruling for ICE. So there was several criteria that they were fighting, which is what the case was all about. So there's this liberal judge, Obama holdover judge, federal judge, that basically said, well, you can't use any of these as excuses to go after somebody. Like, for instance, if they look like they're from Mexico, Venezuela, anything like that, you can't use that. You can't use it if they only know Spanish. That's not a good reason, to ask somebody for their ID. Or if they're working in the fields or they're hanging out at Home Depot, like 10 of them. That's not a good reason either. It's hilarious. It's like, well, wait a minute. What constitutes the idea that we're going to investigate somebody at a certain point? And in L.A., you got 2 million, I heard. 2 million illegals running around in L.A., but it's kind of funny, right?
Well, first of all, they've got to file of the people that they're going after first, right? They're going after people that have deportation orders already. So what the Democrats are saying is the people that have already been adjudicated as not belonging here, and there's a removal order. Oh, no, you can't remove them. What? And look, Joe, all these things, no, we don't want people being singled out because they're working in a field, but here's how I would get around that judge's concerns. All you got to do is send somebody, doesn't even have to be ICE. Could be a volunteer. Could be somebody's husband or wife. Just send them someplace with a blue jacket that says ICE on the back and a baseball cap that says ICE, and see who runs. And then all you have to do is just stop the people that runs. There's your probable cause right
once
there.
Once they start running,
they saw ICE and they ran.
Yeah, once they start running, you can go after them, right? I'm surprised the judge didn't put that one in. If somebody's running from you, you can't go after them either.
What I love is that these judges that are actively helping criminals escape ICE. It happened in Massachusetts, and then I can't remember the other state where it happened. But we got 2 judges in the Huskow now, because they helped a criminalien escape ICE through their chambers.
Yeah, so that's pretty hilarious stuff. I know you got a couple items too. You go woke, you go broke, and it seems like
let's finish up with the Supreme Court first, though, because there's 2 other things going on here. Now, look, we know that these Democrats are all sexual deviants, right? Like this FDA guy that he has some sort of leather pentagram harness. It's some homosexual thing he was doing. These are all sexual deviants. So I really am starting to think, Joe, that they're all masochists, because they keep loving, apparently, getting slapped down by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled today. We talked before. They had already ruled that the president has the executive authority to take executive action. Well, the FTC commissioner protested and said he doesn't have the authority. There's another slap that's coming in New York State. The second level of appeals, the appellate division, upheld the $83 million award for E. Jean Carroll, who, by the way, came out and said that she lied to the jury by wanting to make her seem sexually enticing.
Yeah, just so we can backtrack on that a second. That E.J. Carroll, I mean, what was the background on her? She was accusing that Trump had... Is she saying that Trump didn't rape her or whatever, just had sexual relations with her or something? Or what was the background?
She said he sexually molested her in a very posh department store right there on Fifth Ave.
In the department store.
In the department store, in the changing room, she said he sexually molested her.
Okay.
And this is why they call him a rapist, right? And then she came out and she said that she lied to the jury. She said, I had to lie to the jury to make myself seem effable.
There's a lot of crazy
She's not
people.
an attractive woman. Look, on her best day, Donald Trump owned the Miss Universe pageant show. I don't think he'd be trolling. I don't think he'd be trolling dressing rooms at Bergdorf Goodman for the likes of E. Jean Carroll on her best day. Her most dewy day back in her salad days when she was 25 and looking as good as she was ever going to look in life. I don't think that she met Donald Trump's minimum threshold.
No, absolutely not. So the whole thing is so ridiculous. But just finish that up real quick because people might not be really familiar with it. But that was like an $85 million lawsuit. Is that
$83 million, yeah.
So Trump
and it's a defamation judgment. It's a defamation judgment because he said that she was lying and he called her a nut job, which she clearly is.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was Trump suing her, correct? For the 85 million?
That's Trump appeal. That's a Trump appealing the jury's verdict in her favor. New York jury.
How crazy.
And she came out and she said that she lied to the jury.
Yeah.
So
everything is crazy as it gets. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So, we'll stay on Trump for a minute. What do you think about Trump going after the cartels?
I love it. My favorite video, and it's not what happened, but apparently he was playing video games or something with Barron or one of the grandchildren because he's got a video game controller and he's playing it. And they did a split screen, and they showed the boat, and he's dialing the numbers or hitting the control sticks, and then all of a sudden you see the boat blow up.
Yeah, right.
Look, the cartels have declared war on us.
Yeah.
It's what the Constitution requires, doesn't suggest, doesn't request, requires the president to protect our national security. And the cartels have declared war on us. They declared war on us when they fired the first round across the border at our Border Patrol agents in El Paso, Texas. It's game on, and they're not going to win.
So he's going into Mexico and a few other, and maybe Venezuela as well. He's going to go after them because they're a terrorist organization now. So he is actually going to go into those countries and try to annihilate them. This is a wonderful thing because, especially like in Mexico, they control Mexico. Those politicians that try to fight the cartel, they don't. There was
another
long.
Joe. It was a tragic story. This TikTok influencer and her husband and her 2 children were found wrapped in plastic in a machine shop, murdered, executed, and they don't think it was she. They think it was he that they were going after. But beautiful young family of 4, gone thanks to the cartels.
Yeah.
Look, there are so many stories. This murder in Charlotte by this savage that had been released 16, 17 times. Mm-hmm. And the governor comes out and says, we need more cops on the beat. That's why my next budget has more for police. Shut up. More cops on the beat. Unless you had a cop standing right behind his seat as he sat there and unfolded his knife. I don't know if you've seen the video footage, but it's chilling.
I refuse to watch it. I can imagine what happened.
I got to tell you this. He reaches into his pocket. He pulls out a folding knife. He stands up, and then the video cuts off. But he just keeps stabbing her in the neck. And the left is all, Ukraine, Slavica, Ukraine. Until a beautiful 23-year-old Ukrainian woman is killed by a savage that the Democrats have coddled his entire life. I've had it with these people. We need to have no more Democrats in power for about 20 or 30 years. And then we can get back to a 2-party system. But this leftist ideology needs to be purged from our system.
Yeah, that was such a horrific thing. Oh my God, just so horrific. I don't know what you do with a person like that.
You got to execute him. There's no. He's already a violent offender 17 times, 18 times. I think this makes.
Well,
there's
not
no
only that,
there's no rehabilitation for somebody like this.
I talked to a corrections officer one time. I actually had him on a podcast one time, talking to him and stuff. But there's a lot of danger. These guys are so nuts. Somebody like that is so nutsy that if he could find a sharp object or something, he could go after one of the guards in the
Oh,
prison.
they take toothbrushes and they hone them down into shivs against the concrete wall, and then they've got a little stiletto.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and he could kill other inmates.
Yeah.
So he
unless you're
needs to be eliminated.
Unless you're going to Hannibal Lecter the guy. Yeah, unless you're going to Hannibal Lecter the guy 24/7. The way I look at it,
it costs too much in the taxpayer money and everything like that to be housing somebody like that, to be feeding them.
I'm not even going to make that utilitarian argument. I got a moral argument. It's not the state taking his life. He has forfeited his life. By his actions, he has forfeited his life. Justice demands that he be executed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't see anybody disagreeing with that, but the left will. They will definitely.
They love their criminals. They love their criminals.
All right, let's talk Cracker Barrel, and then we talk something else you like. But I just want to get your take on Cracker Barrel. They're not all they're cracked up to be. So they went a little woke. Watch this thing, this right here.
So let's start with Nashville Pride. Yes, Cracker Barrel is a proud sponsor of Nashville Pride and have been part of it for over a decade.
I don't think a lot of people knew this. I just don't think a lot of people knew this about Cracker Barrel, but they've been really woke for 10, 15 years
participating for multiple years in Evansville, Indiana's Third River City Pride event. They even made LGBTQ plus rocking chairs for these Pride events. The same Pride rocking chair that they put front and center in their Tennessee corporate office.
Yeah, okay. So the point here is that, you go woke, you go broke, that much for sure. This lady who was the CEO, or is still the CEO, she was hired away from Starbucks and Taco Bell. She would, and her marketing department for Cracker Barrel had all women. So her entire marketing
No, there was one guy.
There was one guy?
There was one guy, and guess who he is? He's the guy that destroyed Jaguar by doing that whole transgender ad. The Jaguar is going all electronic vehicles. They're getting rid of that beautiful 12-cylinder engine that they make, and they're going all electric, and they had some transgender, Paris Olympics type ad campaign. And of course, she's a college-educated white woman with the big chunky glasses. There's a reason it's a meme, Joe. There's a reason it's a meme. Speaking
me ask you something. Is there something about those
white women with glasses? How about the moral cretin who demanded the home run ball from the little boy at the Phillies game?
Okay, yeah, I think I saw that. So there was some woman. She went to grab the ball. The son's father grabbed the baseball, and then she went over and gave it lip service to the father and said, "Give me that ball back. It's mine." Right?
And I gotta say, Joe, look, I'm not any big special forces operator, right? But I'd hope I'm a little more masculine than this guy. She comes up to him and he flinches. He literally goes like this.
Yeah, he looks scared.
And then he says to the son, "Well, son, give it to the lady."
Yeah.
If that happened when I was taking my children to the game, she would have been told to hit the bricks.
Yeah, he looked a little scared of that lady. You're right. So kind of crazy there. But I'll just finish up on that Cracker Barrel for a minute. So have you eaten at Cracker Barrel since they've renovated, or have they now gone back? I think they tried to undo the renovation.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not about the renovations. It's about the food. They sold out to a hedge fund, and just like the hedge funds have ruined Panera Bread, so the bread isn't made there now. The macaroni and cheese, everything comes frozen in hot bags that they sous vide. They put it in boiling water before they serve it to you. Panera used to be a great freshly made, right in front of you type casual restaurant. No. The bean counters get in there. these hedge funds these hedge funds are the bane of Western civilization, and they destroyed it. Last time I ate at Cracker Barrel, and now I was a huge Cracker Barrel fan. The Grandpa's breakfast was the best. I used to take my children to Cracker Barrel all the time 25, 30 years ago. Big Cracker Barrel fan.
Yeah.
Last time I ate there was the first time I'd eaten there in 5 years. So I stopped eating there 9 years ago. First time, it was 2021. It was down in Tampa, Florida, and it was the worst breakfast I've ever had, ever, including that time I had a brand new pan and I didn't know how to cook with it, and the eggs stuck to the pan. Joe, it was just absolutely horrible. That was 4 years ago, and that was the first time I'd eaten there in 5 years. So I've eaten there once in the last 9 years because the quality of the food has just been garbage. So it doesn't matter what the logo is. It doesn't matter what the decor is. What matters is that the food is garbage now. Until they – and look, Southern food is some of the best food in the country. I think we both have a hankering for it. And – just get a couple good Southern chefs in there to redo the menu, freshen it up, and hire some people that actually know what that a service job requires, that you give good service.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It reminds me of the Bud Light. I still will not drink a Bud Light. And
I never drank. To be honest with you, Bud to me, we used to call it, as the Germans say, Peacewasser. I never was a Bud man, and Bud Light, even light beer from Miller beer. I like to drink real beer, so they didn't lose my business because they'd never had it. Right. But it used to be the number one beer in America. Not anymore.
No, that was the absolute gut-wrenching worst marketing idea ever. That was going woke so far over the top. It's
but no worse than our Department of Defense did under Joe Biden with the Heather Has Two Mommies cartoon ad about the woman who's had lesbian mothers and all the personal development that the Army was going to give her. It's like, and meanwhile, you put that next to the Russia's recruiting ad with these Ivan Drago looking guys, these Dolph Lundgren looking guys getting out of bed and banging out push-ups. I love the fact that we're now calling it the Department of War. I hope it sticks. I hope it doesn't get undone.
Yeah, Department of War. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it. And when you think about it, it makes more sense because it's really not. It's what is it? Department of Defense that they call it.
It's like, well, no, we don't play defense. We're not back on our heels.
No. War is what it's all about. You are a Department of War. There's nothing like
something
defense.
That our military guys say. There's a saying in our military: don't touch the boats. Okay? Because every time in history that somebody touched our boats, bad things happened. Bad things happened. War of 1812, Pearl Harbor, the USS Cole. Every time somebody touches our boats, we rain hell down upon them. Department of War tells the world, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. But if you touch our boats...
Yeah, that's the end of you. That's the end of you. Well, let's just go into one more Trump story here tonight. So you're with the Trump MAGA Institute. Let me just why the MAGA Institute? Why do you call it that? Other than the obvious reason, is there?
We do what the Republican Party, by its own rules, is not allowed to do, and that is to vet candidates in the primary, and get people involved and organize people to vote in the primary. Because if you're waiting for the general election to cast your vote, it's too late because you're already voting between two Democrats, because the GOP is just as Democrat as the DNC. You know, they tweak things around the edges, and this is why they hate Trump. And this is why they're trying to run out the clock on Trump, because 2/3 of the Republicans hate him too, because what he's doing is he's taking a wrecking ball to the status quo. And these people are building their fortunes off of participating in the status quo.
Well, let me ask you this. People like George Soros, are they going to arrest him?
I don't know that George has committed any crimes, believe it or not.
What about
what he's done is immoral, but I don't think it's been illegal. Now, what's been illegal is what Act Blue has done, which is allowing George Soros to make a donation, a huge, multi-million-dollar donation, and they say that Sadie made a $35 donation and Doris made a $25 donation and Pete made a $50 donation, when Sadie, Doris, and Pete have never heard of Act Blue and never made any donation. Act Blue has been doing that in a vast conspiracy, and I think that people will be going to prison for that.
What about people like, let's just throw out a few other names: Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Bernie Sanders. Some of these people have become incredibly rich.
Yeah. And that's where I think we get them. I mean, that's why Letitia James is going to go to prison here, our Attorney General in New York. She's going to go to prison for mortgage fraud. Fannie Willis is going to go to prison for mortgage fraud. I think if you look into Nancy and her husband's trades, I think if you look into Bernie's lake house, I think if you look into all these people's finances, AOC, when she got to Congress, she was decrying the fact that she had to share an apartment with somebody. And then all of a sudden she's got a $1.8 million condo. I think when we dig into these people's finances, we're going to find a lot of juicy tidbits.
No, that's going to be awesome, but we have to. We got to get those tidbits moving, because it's just not enough to say that they're corrupt. I'm tired of that. I want to see some handcuffs. I want to see them inside a jail cell. That's the only thing that's going to change this. And I can't believe how corrupt this country was. And if we hadn't gotten Trump in there, that corruption would have escalated, numerically. That was
the reason they tried to kill him twice.
Yeah, they put a bullet right. You skimmed the side of his head, a bullet. He is so lucky to be alive, but thank God he is. And if he was shot and killed on that in Butler, PA, which he should be dead right now.
We'd be worse off than the United Kingdom is, and the United Kingdom is about 15 minutes away from no longer being a country.
Yeah, we are so lucky. So lucky. So we got a second chance here. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Timothy, I want to thank you, and we're going to continue doing these. We'll do these shows if we can, as often as we can.
Happy to come back anytime, Joe.
Yeah, sounds great. All right. Well, you have a good night, and I appreciate it, and God bless and everything, okay?
Keep fighting the good fight.
Have a good night.